I'm Geraldine Lirio, but most know me as Jelly. I am the co-founder of a real estate firm. We do asset management, brokerage, so property management, that kind of thing. And I was a former Seagal for the Seattle Seahawks, Miss Washington, United States 2015 before I founded the company. I always knew I wanted to start my own thing, but I knew it's something, if I wanted it to be bigger than me, I couldn't do it alone. So I was fortunate enough to have a really good friend that decided to reach out to me one day, and we partnered up and started Anchor. Yeah, it was a very colorful few steps to get to this point of now we've grown into a company of 10 now, and we have employees. So it's been about 3 years in the making now, and a lot of struggles along the way in between. But I can honestly say it's so rewarding, and in some ways I feel that in doing this, I'm also representing my people, the Filipino community, and in business, in the commercial real estate realm. I don't meet other, let alone just women in my industry. So it's almost like, going into this, I thought, there may not be a seat at the table, so I've got to bring my own chair. And so I know one of my first few events I've gone to, a networking event for commercial real estate, I was probably the youngest in the room, the one of a small handful of how many people I can put on one hand of women, and then combine that being women of color, being a Filipino woman. It was, it's definitely, I didn't think of it as, a negative thing. I thought of it, this is where I can stand out. I can't say I've always wanted to, stand on my own and be unique until, it took a really good circle of friends. It took my, a whole village, my family, to then give me that confidence and, finally feel like I can go out there, I can step into the light, and it doesn't matter what I look like, my skin color, my background, because those are all things that make me me. And I believe that is your power, is no one can be uniquely you. So just like any other Filipino family, it's always around, there's a lot of questions, of course, and I'm sure, had it been a little bit younger, it would have been, why don't you try nursing? I had to mention that. But overall, the family that they are, they're just by nature so supportive, and I can proudly say that I think that is just, family is just innate in our culture. So I think they've been really supportive even to this day of me, venting about some of my, when I'm really deep in the weeds, and some of my might not be frustrations, but challenges. So I think, without them, they're my rock. And so without their support, I definitely wouldn't be able to do it. I think that the one thing I will always remember my parents for is the hard work ethic that they've instilled in me at the young age. I think I was younger, around like 10 years old, and I remember my mom telling me in a dance class, before I stepped into the dance class, I was really nervous. She told me that you don't need to be the most talented person, because hard work beats talent every day. So that's what I like to implement, day to day when things are, I might be against the wall on a project or something like that. I just think anything can be done with a little hard work. When I tell myself, even to this day, I was a Seagal, it still doesn't quite click. And then sometimes I remember, oh my gosh, I actually did it. I wasn't always the best dancer, so I had to work that much harder to be able to keep up with the other girls. And, there was times when I was reprimanded for not being able to keep up at times. But I took that and I let that fuel my fire. And instead of, I need to give up, I need to work my ass that much harder. So that, along with, it's a strict program, being able to perform for the NFL. You're expected to be of a certain look, a certain weight even, and hold yourself to a certain standard even outside of the field. And so I had to learn really quick, and I had to work hard. One thing that carries on into Anchor that I really leveraged was being authentic. It's hard to be truly yourself when you feel that you have to match up to a certain level, speak a certain way, and or be as educated as the next person in your field, especially commercial real estate. But looking back, steps leading up to becoming a Seagal, because I wasn't the best dancer, one thing I did know, which was a unique thing, was ballroom dance, because I used to compete in ballroom dance, and that was something that none of the other girls really did. Everyone was extremely talented in ballet, jazz, tap, like point. All of the, they were very professionally trained. I wasn't professionally trained in those areas, but I knew one thing, and I could ballroom dance. And so, if I was going to make this work, the only way I could really do it is just be myself. I couldn't fake how to do ballet, how to, do hip hop and all that stuff. So even auditioning, I had to just dance as a ballroom dancer, not necessarily the style of dance that the Seagals was looking for. So I think that's one thing I am taking with me in, other aspects of my life, which is just being myself. What got me into it was my mom and dad. They've all told me to do it. So, Filipinos just love to dance. It's like you're born doing the cha-cha out of the womb, right? So they put me in a few ballroom dance classes, and I tried the whole dance academy thing for ballet and all that. It just wasn't for me, but I'm grateful I tried it. And from there, I just kept at it, practiced, and I practiced. And a coach one day asked me, hey, could you represent us at a state competition? And I became a national competition and so forth. So those were definitely more things I'm so grateful for, because the art of ballroom dance is something I can grow old with. So just like the golf and, those kind of sports, it's been a long journey since. It's been 3 years. We founded in 2018. Unfortunately, we had some, we had differences in a partner that we had, and we had to say goodbye to that company. And then the partner and I that decided to forge forward, we decided to continue forward with what we had, the few employees that we had, and start from scratch. And so it was actually, this is basically our 1-year anniversary since doing so, of having to rebuild. And since then, it's like we've 10x'd with employees. And I'm just like, you never know really what's ahead of you. So I learned really to not be short-sighted. There might be challenges and, all of that in front of you right now in this very moment, but the dust will always settle. Time will always pass, and you never know what can happen in a year, and a lot can happen in a year. We're in its infant stages, but we're starting a wave. We're starting with a younger set of employees, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed about the world and wanting to make a difference and wanting to power from a place not just of business and earning, being a high-income earner, but they truly want to be individuals that are making an impact in their community. And so that was definitely intentional. We wanted to be diverse. We wanted to be almost like a pathway for someone that felt like they were an underdog at one point in their life, because I could really relate to that. I don't know exactly where we'll land, but one thing I know for sure is that we're going to touch lives through real estate from probably the most unconventional way. And soon we'll be national. And we can say we're a diverse, minority-owned and operated group. And that's going to be what success for Anchor means to me. It was almost like it wasn't just me up on that stage getting crowned. It was almost like all my Filipino brothers and sisters, being a victory for them too. I'm getting teary-eyed because every time I do see one of us on TV or one of us, really doing it, whether it's entertainment, business, whatever, for some reason I chalk it to, this is a win for our people. Like it's it's paving a better tomorrow for us. And so that's what that felt like. It felt like it wasn't just for me, it was for my people. I wasn't a 5'8" tall blonde girl that is typically the mold that they're looking for in order to represent the state at a national level. So to be just me and be able to take it that far, we went top 10 at Washington, D.C. nationally against 52 other contestants. I think that was like, it just shows that things are changing. People are seeing past the color of their skin, and I think there is certainly way more work to be done, as we know, in today's climate of our social challenges. But I think it's about these little wins. Me still keeping a good, close relationship with my roots. I've made it an effort to visit the homeland, every so often. For the past few years, I've been going at least every other year. And because I still have family back home that are still, very much living in poverty, I think that's what gives me my strength, because I remove, my needs, and it's no longer about me. And if it's not about me, I feel like I can go that much further if I'm doing it for others. My parents immigrated before I was born, so I was actually born in California. And then after my father retired from the U.S. military, he and my mom decided they didn't want to raise me back in L.A. I think they wanted to raise me somewhere that was a little more wholesome, great school system. And so Seattle ended up being where we planted our roots. I never thought to study commercial real estate. I knew I wanted to be in business somehow, and one day I wanted to own my own business. And so college was kind of, I just need to do this to appease my parents. And then, I'd gotten involved with real estate from an early age, starting from being a leasing agent to then property management. And so that's where I gained my first exposure to it. And then, just knowing how my parents were able to finally purchase their one home and then turn that into and leverage that as an investment to the point where they're now able to retire today. Actually, my dad's retiring this month. And being able to witness that, that's what pretty much started my interest in real estate, is my parents, from a young age, seeing them buy a house and it being such a big deal for my whole family, being so tied into my culture and being able to go back home and seeing how hard my mom worked. Even though she had, her full-time job, she still found ways to have a little side gig here and there. She had her own little side hustle of selling whatever XYZ. So I think I was exposed from an early age. My mom, not just having her job, but also trying to make a living on the side to help give her family, a better life. So I think that's what helped give me the courage anyway to become an entrepreneur. And I think that because I have the support of my family, it's what gives me the spirit to keep going, even though times can be tough.